This meeting is being recorded.
Ooh, echo. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Let me start the screen. Hopefully everyone can see this. Our PowerPoint coming through.
Yes. Yep.
All right, great. I guess the only thing I would ask for everyone is if there's going to be any conversation or maybe noise in the background, if you can quickly mute yourself.
I'm not happy with your bank.
And just a word of awareness for those that maybe not be as familiar with Zoom. I'm on Zoom quite a bit. If you're muted, the easiest way to unmute momentarily is just hit your big space bar in the bottom. So press your space bar, speak, and then just let go of it. And this way you don't have to look for the small volume button. Anyway, so alrighty, let's just get started with the PowerPoint. And yeah, we're excited to have you all here. Welcome to the first annual Lifetime Member Roundtable. And we're going to keep, the board's going to keep their presentation, myself included, short. Instead of speaking to you, we would like to hear from you. So if that being said, we'll quickly start here. This year's board of directors, myself, president, I first got involved with the temple in 2016, hearing about it on a Colorado Public Radio program that the building was for sale. Make a real long story short, went down there, visited, and the then trustees, Catherine, Randy, and Ron Rubin, had the keys to the temple, and we just decided to join their team and do what we could to save this fabulous building and a history behind it. And anyway, and my wife, Sherry Glickman, my bride, vice president. Actually, Sherry and I just got married there September 5th of 2021. And that was the first wedding for about 10 years prior. And we're looking forward to have many more weddings following. Randy Rubin, immediate past president, Randy and Ron, both brothers, they grew up as Temple Aaron being their spiritual religious home. They both had their bar mitzvahs there. Randy will speak here in a few minutes. Kim Grant, very recently retired from Colorado Preservation Inc., has been a board member now for a few years, and we're grateful to have everybody as members. Les Lyman, owner of Twin Enviro Environmental Services Company in Steamboat, Colorado Springs, Florence, Trinidad, Los Animas County, and owns some scientific testing laboratories. Anyway, and Michael Akins, our most recent member, and this is the board makeup. Quickly going through the highlights, since the more modern resurgence of the temple, since 2016, we became involved. We've been offering, and actually prior to that, they've always had some in-person, especially high holiday services. I think there was only 1 year in 16 where they did not. They just literally ran out of money. And that's where we all started to get involved and save the building. We currently have Zoom Torah studies, monthly Torah studies. I think Sherry will speak a little more about that. Since we started in 2016, we've succeeded in raising a total, as you can see, of $350,000. That does include membership fees, donations, very generous donations, as well as grants. So all in total, approximately $350,000. We've succeeded in doing a heat the temple, or we purchased and had a brand new boiler installed. It was literally, it's truthfully we're still waiting for final testing and approval, but it's working, it's operating, and the building is currently warm. So it's great to have that. It's been 10 years in the making. since the temple was heated, and we're really happy to have it heated. We did complete some emergency roof repair in 2021, and most notably, we're really excited to just be right around the corner of having a public announcement of receiving the next National Historic Landmark. Just for you guys, well, I won't get any more detail on that. Kim Grant will touch on that. Oh, you know what? That's all I have. I'm going to hand it over to Randy, so he can give a brief history of he and Ron's experiences and involvement with the temple. So again, thank you all for being here.
I'd like to this is Randy Rubin. Welcome and Happy New Year to all. My hope is that the New York portends well for all of us. My association with Temple Aaron spans 65 plus years, as does my brother, Ron Rubin. Our ties to Temple Aaron predate us, as our parents, Catherine and Leon Rubin, were members since the 1940s, shortly after they were married and took up residency and went into business in Raton, New Mexico. We've seen many changes in events, and the Zoom today is evidence of that. The confidence and trust you all have in Temple Aaron is most gratifying, I must say. With your support, energy, Temple Aaron will continue to evolve for what I hope to be, or hope as we all do, for many, many years to come. We look forward to seeing many of you at 407 South Maple in Trinidad and attending our live events. Again, I'd like to say welcome and thank you. That's what I have to say, and look forward to hearing comments, suggestions from you very honored life members.
Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
Oh, I'm sorry. Randy Rubin was bar mitzvahed on my birthday date, September 14th. So that's a good sign.
It's a darn good sign. It's 2 days after my birthday.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Although I was born earlier than 62, but at 14th of September. As a new member, I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's still very emotionally gratifying and moving for me. As my great grandfather Simon Sanders was involved. I did get a chance many years ago to speak with Catherine when I was researching years ago, and a lot of these situations, they tend to end up not very good, and this one was a positive one, and I'm so thankful that everyone involved stepped up and participated, and I'm honored to be part of it. I hope I can participate to the best of my ability to help further what everyone else has already built. So thank you for everything that everyone else has done.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it. I want to first just thank everybody for being here. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy days to do this. And we're really glad you're here because we want to hear from you. Just very quickly, many of you know this already. Well, you probably all do since you're lifetime members. But we began a membership campaign about a year and a half ago, 2021, in the summer. And we, at this point, have 81 households as members. 33 households are lifetime members, and then the remainder are split up between the family, individual, and supporter levels. So we're very thankful for that. And we just continue to grow. In addition to our members, we also have just a pretty vast list of people who apparently want to keep getting our mailings, and who also will participate, on Zoom and, other online events. So we have our membership, not membership, but our list continues to grow. We're just under 2,000 people right now, which was fairly shocking when I just looked recently, but that's where it's at. So as most of you likely know, Rabbi Lennox served as our rabbi of record for 2 years, 2021 and 2022. He retired in December of 2022. He is now in Florida. He has a position with the Federation there. And we decided to try something kind of experimental and different. We are not in a position to, hire a full-time rabbi. And we've been doing so many things on Zoom. We decided, let's, kind of make the most of the diversity that we have. I mean, we have members and supporters from all around the country. So, and we know so many rabbis, so many people have expressed interest in participating. So we decided to do something that we're calling Collective Voices, where we are inviting guest rabbis to host Torah studies each month, and as well as the in-person events that we'll be having. So we just had our first Torah study on Zoom this past Saturday with Rabbi Schlachter. He did a wonderful job. People really enjoyed it. As you can see the list here, Rabbi Zoe Van Ran will do February, Rabbi Paul Citron will do March Torah study, Rabbi Schlachter will do the Passover Seder in person at the temple. Everybody's invited, of course. So we hope some or many of you can make it in person. And we're also filling in the dates with other rabbis for the rest of the year. Later, when we, have more of a discussion, we'll talk about ways that, we'd be interested in having you participate. One of the ways on my mind is, if you would like to help us, reach out to other rabbis. If there's somebody who might be interested in participating by doing one Torah study a year, talk to us about that. I think at this point, I am going to turn this over to Kim Grant.
All right, thank you, Sherry. I will speak very briefly about this. Sherry mentioned that we had raised a significant amount of money to replace the boiler. That was about $50,000. The building is over 130 years old, and so is the roof. This is the original roof that you're looking at. And we acquired a grant from the State Historical Fund to do a full analysis of the roof and some emergency repairs. It's a very unique pressed metal siding, and you can see it leaked from the photo that flashed up there. So we need to replace that roof, and that's our next major fundraising effort. And it's really, for a small organization like us, truly kind of a capital campaign level effort. So, and you'll be hearing more about that. Here are some of the interesting features of the roof, including the onion dome, also made out of pressed metal with its serrated edges at the seams. And it's just a beautiful building. And I think I'm supposed to speak very briefly about the National Historic Landmark status. Yes. This is one of the few really historic photos we have of the temple. But the temple is on the cusp of achieving the highest level of historic preservation designation that you can have in the United States. There are only a little over 2,000 National Historic Landmarks, and only 7 of them are synagogues. And there is, the program is administered by the National Park Service, and it has an overarching advisory board. Below that level, it has a landmarks board, and the landmarks board unanimously approved our nomination by an 11-0 vote. And there's some vacancies on the National Advisory Board. So we're waiting for those to be filled so they can schedule a meeting in the spring to sort of rubber stamp this. We hope to be able to make a big splash out of this and involve our congressional representatives who've been informed about this, and plan a big event in July, which would coincide with the 40th anniversary of the founding of the temple, not of the construction of the building, but of the founding of the congregation. And I should just back up a little bit. For the last 5.5 years, I worked for Colorado Preservation, Inc., which is a statewide nonprofit historic preservation advocacy organization. And CPI acquired a $15,000 grant from the National Park Service to hire a consultant who is Rachel Leibovitz out of Syracuse, New York, to do the nomination, which is a very intense and scholarly endeavor to basically make the case for national historic significance. And that's done on the basis of its architecture and its distinctive architecture, but also because of how it tells the story of the westward migration of Jews to across the continent. And so it's a great story to tell, and we're on the cusp of having that finally approved, which will be a big deal. And hope you could all come to that celebration when the time comes.
Okay, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and start kind of an open forum. We'd love to hear from all of you. Our Facebook and our website gives you all the details that you would probably want to try to understand about the temple and its history from its beginning, as well as modern history since 2016. So there is the email address if you want to have any communications, or a website and a phone number. So I will stop that and just really open it up for group discussion. We're delighted to have you all here and have you be affiliated with us and part of our congregation and our community. So whoever has anything they'd like to begin, please do.
Yeah, this is
Go ahead,
Kevin. Yeah, this is Kevin. I live in Los Angeles, and I've met Randy on my travels to Trinidad. Just so you guys know, I have 2 children. They're not kids anymore. My son's 32 and my daughter's just turned 35, who live in Trinidad and run a business in Trinidad. It's a marijuana business. And I want to thank you. My daughter moved there in 2014 to start the business. And I've been to Trinidad many times, and I love going to often just past the synagogue, but I want to thank the Rubens and you, Sherry, and Neil for everything that you've done to keep this going. I know when it was on its almost on its last legs, when there wasn't a bright future ahead, and maybe that was back in 2017 or 2018. Time flies. But to see where it's at now and to have a new boiler and now trying to get a new roof, I want to thank everybody for all those efforts. It's a very important historic landmark. I'm not, as you can imagine from my accent, I wasn't born in this country, but Judaism was a very big part of my upbringing in a very small town back in Zimbabwe, with 2 synagogues at that time. One since has burnt down, so it's down to 1. And I think it's just amazing that something like this continues. So thank you everybody for their efforts and for the fundraising that's done and now where it's moving towards. A question I have, because just looking at the faces, including mine, there are no young people on this panel, and my question really is what type of outreach Temple Aaron is doing to try and find the youth who will continue the legacies of the Jewish community in the area. I am very involved in the Jewish Federation of Los Angeles. I'm the chair of the CLI Community Leadership Institute, which which reaches out to find people from the age of 28 through 41 to become future leaders of the Jewish community. I think Denver has something similar, but it's just out of interest as to what Temple Aaron is doing to reach out to the youth, including my kids who live there and really feel that gap of, well, there's no other Jewish youth in Trinidad, or none that they're aware of, and what is there, and how do they get involved? Maybe my question.
Mhm. I would take that as a suggestion that we need to consider and figure out how to address, Kevin, because we don't really do a good job of that right now, and we could probably use some help and guidance and thinking about that going forward. So we should talk about that further.
I would just add, though, that we have had a fair number of younger people come to our in-person services and activities, which are not really reflected so much in this group tonight, but it's an excellent point and something that we definitely need to address. And that there are some newer arrivals in the community, and they do tend to be young people.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
If I can, and I'm willing to assist in any way if I can, from my knowledge of what we do here. Los Angeles being an enormous Jewish population and Jewish involvement in the Jewish Federation. I know, I've been dealing 10 years with CLI and from its inception, and I know how difficult it is to bring youth in, especially if they feel disconnected. But that's that's the goal. And what we do realize is the youth are not going to be there for the money. It's a lot harder for that generation to come up with large funds, and they feel that they can't get involved. But where they do have is they have incredible energy and amazing outreach into mass media through whatever they use. So I'd be very willing to assist in any way if that's would be helpful to you.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for offering that.
Kevin,
Yeah, we'd love.
here for just a second. I'm sorry, Sherry. What's the name of your children who are in the marijuana business in Trinidad?
My daughter's name is Nicole, same last name as mine, and my son's name is Bradley. And the business that they started was the first marijuana business. They're the culprits, I guess. THCU, Trinidad's Higher Calling You, on the corner of Freedom and Independence.
Okay.
That's great. That's great. If you wouldn't mind, maybe if you're good with the chat, maybe you could put their names in there and the phone number, and because I get down there periodically and love to connect with them, and Les as well gets down there. So
well, I'd love that.
Might not be bad to, sit down, break some bread, have a cup of coffee, whatever.
Yeah, I'd like to meet them.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. It's a great point. We really are not, we don't have selfishly speaking, we're doing everything we can to save this building. At the same time, grow this community. So we need to have a targeted effort towards the youth, and appreciate you bringing that up, Kevin. Joan, you have your hand up, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just was thinking about the colleges that aren't too far from Trinidad. In fact, one of them is in Trinidad. And then there's one in Pueblo. And wondering, I'm sure that there are some Jewish students in these colleges, even though it may not be a lot of them. And it might be fun to make sure that they know about events. I know colleges have Hillel, but maybe Temple Aaron with its magic could be kind of a draw for the holidays and get some of these college students involved.
That's a great idea. Yes.
That is a great idea.
There's
We can
also
figure out a
Durango.
way to do.
Durango's a little far, but Pueblo is not far at all. And then, of course, there's the Trinidad State Junior College right across the highway.
Mhm,
And then there
mhm.
are always non-Jewish people who are, they might not join, but I know there's any number of non-Jewish people who have come to Seders and other things out of interest in the building or the community.
Oh, and to Mindy's point, maybe invite some professors. That's
Right.
it's a great idea. Actually, I was down there a couple weeks ago. Gosh, I'm scrambling to find a card now. I apologize. I shouldn't do that right this second. But I met with the president of the college there, and she is very excited about the fact that we've supported and saved this building and are growing the community. I just have Dr. Rhonda Epper. She's the president of the Trinidad State College. And as a matter of fact, they mentioned how they're doing a complete rehab job of their library, which is named Freudenthal Library,
Wow.
named after the last full-time rabbi Temple Aaron had, who retired in 1916 or thereabouts. So thank you, Jonas. That's great. Appreciate that. Please, next, whoever. You can raise your hand or you can just speak out. Any suggestions, any comments, any questions?
Well, I would,
Please.
this is Ron Rubin. I'm Randy's brother. And I just would like to recognize Robert Biber, who is on this call, because he also, I'm not trying to embarrass you or point you out, Bob, but we grew up with him. His father and mother were members of Temple Aaron, and we were both children, he and his brothers and sisters, and we grew up in Temple Aaron. And he sort of has come full circle in that we've reconnected, and it's so nice to see you, Bob, and to reconnect after all these years, and to know that you're still very vitally interested in Temple Aaron. And I just wanted to point you out because you are part of my Jewish childhood. And of course, there aren't many. My brother and I were in Sunday school with you and your sister Joan.
And Joni.
Yes.
I think Trisha too.
Trish, yes. And so I just wanted to say thank you for your interest again in Temple Aaron.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I must say that the bar mitzvah picture of Randy, that's what I remember. I don't remember this face right now.
Good.
Oh, he hasn't changed a bit.
Oh, no, it hasn't.
But that brought back a major flashback for me, that seeing that picture of spending time with you guys down in Raton, at your store. It was, playing when we were supposed to be inside for services at Yom Kippur, playing out football out on the grass.
Yes.
Busted again, yeah. But yeah, I have a lot of mixed emotions about Temple Aaron, and a lot of thoughts that kind of creep back into my head. The last time actually I was there would have been for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services in the fall of 1959, because my family split at that time, and in the spring of '60 we moved to Denver. But obviously my father stayed in Trinidad and was part of things for a long time. But I have connections that are springing forth again in my mind that I want to get down there and see it. But for the last 2 or 3 years, I've had some health issues that have prevented me from being around anybody, let alone COVID or not. And that's all kind of resolved now. So this spring, I definitely want to get down there. As a matter of fact, I was planning the yard site for my father's death was yesterday, and he's buried in the Jewish cemetery there, part of Temple Aaron in Trinidad. And I was hoping to drive down before the storm was going to come, and be able to say Kaddish at his gravesite. But I'll do that this spring, and nobody will know the difference.
Again,
Thank you.
Bob, I do travel there periodically, so I'm willing to carpool with anybody who would like. I can hold 6 people in my truck, so. And if we want to have a tour group go down there, we can see about maybe getting a bus or a van or something, so. Anyway, and by the way, before anyone leaves, we do, Sherry mentioned we do have Pesach services, Pesach Seder this coming April. I have to look at my calendar to see the date, but it will be on the website. As well as once we get the National Historic Landmark status officially in our hands, we will have a large celebration for that. I was at a Jewish Colorado event last week and was able to eke a couple minutes, 2-3 minutes with the governor and let him know that we did officially were voted in to receive the National Historic Landmark, but we haven't received the document yet. And he pointed to his travel manager or director and said to make sure that it is on his calendar as soon as we have a date. So we're going to make this as big of an event as we can. Anyway, and you're all certainly welcome. Kim, we're gonna say something? Oh, Leona and John, go ahead.
It's interesting. If you Google Trinidad, Colorado, there are several things to see and do. Temple Aaron is not mentioned. Before we got involved with you, I had called the Chamber of Commerce in Trinidad. I think I mentioned it to you. And the person who answered the phone at the Chamber of Commerce didn't know what I was talking, what's Temple Aaron? And so, I mean, at the very least, there should be some knowledge in town about it or on brochures or whatever the Chamber of Commerce does, maybe have some pictures, do something, because how this person at the Chamber of Commerce never heard of the building and didn't know anything about it. Where is it? What is it? And like I said, if you Google things to see and do in Trinidad, there's no mention. There's another building, there's a picture of some other mansion and a couple of other things, but we're not there. What can you do?
Yeah, thank you for that, Leona. You had mentioned that, and it seems like we always have things going on, and it's certainly an important thing we need to address. Sherry and I actually spoke. There's a tour trolley that travels through Trinidad on the hour. I have personally not been on it. I shouldn't say on the hour, at least once or twice a day, daily. And they stop in front of the temple and they do speak about it, but we actually ought to connect with that trolley company and give a little more detail about the temple so that there's a little more information shared. John, please.
Okay. Yeah, great to be on this call. Thanks for setting this up. I think it's a great idea. Thanks, Neil and Sherry, Randy, Ron, everybody else involved at the temple, what you've done and saved this magnificent structure, spiritual place for all of us to enjoy in the future. Thinking back, it's been it's approximately, I can't even say, is it 1.5 years or 2.5 years off the top of my head when my son's bar mitzvah was there.
2.5.
2.5, how time flies.
Well, let's see, it was May 21, right? So it'll be 2 years
21.
this May, 2 years this May.
Not quite 2 years. That
Yeah.
sounds right. Yeah. Aaron's really grown since then. It seems like much longer than 1.5 years, but what a great memory. But I haven't been back since, and I know because of COVID and everything, things got kind of different for all of us. But I look forward to the next time that I can schlep my family back up to Trinidad from Albuquerque and be there with everybody at an upcoming event. A couple of things I thought about bringing up today. One, when Bob mentioned his father's yard site, I thought about that before. Like, one of the meaningful things I've had at Temple Aaron was attending Yom Kippur services back when both holidays were observed during High Holy Days, and hearing the yard sites, the names of all the prior members called out. It was very meaningful to me. And really, who else is going to ever say their names out loud at a service than we're at Temple Aaron? So ultimately in the future, I know it's difficult. If we can't have a live Yom Kippur service there, at least convene to call out the names of our departed and give them their duly honor of keeping their names alive and read aloud. I think that would be very meaningful, at least virtually, if not live, at the temple. And see what else I had.
That's a great point.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Thank you, John.
Yeah, you bet. Other than that, I'm curious to know if you all have anything, at least in the drawing stage, planning stage for the summer between Passover and Rosh Hashanah, maybe some sort of summer Shabbat weekend, which has been done in the past. It's something I've always enjoyed going to, been to a couple of those. So that'd be another suggestion for something to do. I'd love to help out if that's something that you are looking to do. And then
yeah, we are planning at least one celebration. I think, Kim referred to it earlier. It's going to be the 140th anniversary of the founding of the congregation.
Wow.
And we anticipate the National Historic Landmark designation. So we plan to have a really big party. So yeah, there'll be a weekend at least for those events and maybe others too. We've talked about doing other events too. And honestly, in the last year or two, it's been a little bit challenging because, many of you know, we're all scattered around different locations. Randy used to live closer by in Raton, but now he's by you. And so it's a little harder for us to coordinate in-person events. We need more volunteers locally to help put on events. Even when we do our services and events, Maggie used to be an invaluable help. And we need to build up our volunteer corps a little bit right in town so we can commit to more. We've had open houses. We've thought about doing another open house. We also talked about doing a blue service. And then a Shabbaton. So there are a lot of ideas sort of in the air that we're considering.
Okay, the blue service would be for the first responders of the local community, just to give their appreciation. Apparently in Aruban's could pipe in, apparently, years back, their parents and the congregation used to have an annual event for the local first responders. There's so much we really want to do. We want to have open houses for local members, for the churches in the area that are supporting us. One thing really quick, we're also planning on doing a Zoom call, somewhat similar to this, with people who have had history of the temple, either who have grown up in Trinidad, whether they live there now or not, but have had some recollection of the temple in their past and get to share their stories on Zoom. I recently attended a Friends of Historic Trinidad event and was able to get in front of the group and speak. There were a couple hundred people there and they loved the idea. So I think we can get a really nice turnout. And I know a number of you here today should be a part of that. So just stay posted, keep occasionally aware of what's going on the website, and we'll keep you posted. Excuse me. So who else? Any other? And listen, I'm stepping out of bounds here, but you can, each one of you can consider yourself a chair of some committee if you want to. I'm just saying that we need people to help participate. If you have these ideas and you're helping to really dig in and make these things happen, whether it's reaching out to the local youth at the colleges or whatever the case may be, please let Sherry or I or one of us know. Joan.
I just wanted to reinforce the idea which I think is being done, of having holiday observances at around the time of the holiday, but not necessarily on the day of the holiday, because a lot of us belong to congregations in our local communities. And I love the idea that the Passover Seder is going to be in the middle of Passover, because I have obligations at the beginning of Passover here in Denver. So I love that that's happening. And I'd like to see that sort of be a trend so that we could do both. We could observe with our communities at home, but then we could come down and observe for a Rosh Hashanah or Passover. Well, Passover, we're going to do it, not necessarily on the day, but on the week or on the season. It's just fun to be able to do both. And so thank you for scheduling Passover that way. I'd like that to continue.
Thank you, Joan.
Who else? I'm sure you all have ideas. I want to hear from all of you.
Yeah, that'd be great. And even a brief
I just want-
synopsis of your background, how you became involved with the temple. Please go ahead. Whoever spoke.
That was me.
Okay.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi.
Hi.
So how I became involved is that Aaron from Temple Aaron is my triple great grandfather, and the Jaffa family is my family. So anyhow, that's how I got involved. I just have to commend you about the way you are dealing with not being able to get a rabbi and getting people from various places. My career is working in the Jewish community. I work with the National Jewish Movement, the Reform Movement, and there is a major rabbi shortage, and small congregations are suffering the worst. And when I hear this, it gives me such optimism that people are being creative and instead of complaining, and good for you. And I'll talk to you guys later. I have a few names maybe.
Oh, wonderful. You
Thanks,
know,
Ruth.
I have to say, we have been getting such a positive response. It's been amazing. I mean, it's really cool. It's really neat. And it's fun to get to, meet new people and hear different perspectives. It's cool.
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. That's great. One of the last high holidays before recent Rabbi Lennick joined us, we actually had 3 rabbis doing was that a Rosh Hashanah? I think it was a Rosh Hashanah event.
Mm-hmm.
We had 3 rabbis at the podium on a bima, and it was wonderful. They were all very pleased to work together as a team, share the service, and it was a great experience. So, Ruth, again, thanks for that. Mindy, and then we'll go to Michael after Mindy. Go ahead, Mindy.
I'm out here in Connecticut, so it's going to be hard to get there. But when we do get there, we're also members, and my husband's a rabbi, and so we can add him to the
Good.
Okay, so we're going to be we have an RV and we go cross country, and we, on behalf of the Reform Movement, will be visiting small congregations. But we would come to you anyway because we're members. So it's good to know.
Awesome.
And if I can
Mindy,
just fill in a little bit,
Sure.
Mindy Glickman and her husband, Rabbi Jeff Glickman, were our very first lifetime members. So very special.
And they have a very unique, special story of during COVID and how they created a whole, how they just jumped in and started sharing their Jewishness and traveling and seeing temples around the country. So that's great, Mindy. We'd love to reconnect with you a little more. I'm sorry, there was another hand up before. Michael, you had something? Yeah, go ahead, please. Michael's our newest board member. And Michael, who's in Texas.
Yes. Shalom, everyone that I haven't met. Nice to meet you. I'm the newest board member. And yes, I live just outside Lubbock, Texas. And the way that I found out that Temple Aaron even existed was when I was going through my introduction to Judaism classes. I am a Ger Tzedek I was not born a Jew. However, I did to go through the conversion classes and everything. But at the time that I was going through this, I was absorbing so much information about Jewish history and other things. And I ran across a tape that was made for PBS by Cinemag called Hala Rising in the Desert. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, it gives a vast and concise history of Jews in New Mexico, Jews in the Southwest. And one thing it does do, it introduced me to a gentleman named Biff Bodrick, who was the president of Indian Arts Inc. in Albuquerque. And he kind of pointed the way to this place, Temple Aaron, that was also on that tape that just amazed me. I had to see it. And that fascination has grown over time. Unfortunately, if Broderick is not with us anymore, but I entertained with him the idea of finding the perfect turquoise stone and getting him to mount it for me on a bolo. And I have been looking ever since, and I do look in the mines east of Trinidad. I started going to see the temple for real, something that you could actually touch in 2017. And I've been going back and forth ever since. I was blessed with the ability to go inside the temple in 2019, and I fell in love at that time with this place that speaks to you, and have been blessed with the opportunity to be a board member, to have a say-so, to care for this temple, this place that it deserves to survive. And I think that's what we're working for, is to keep this temple alive and the history of the Jews in the Southwest of this United States. And I'm proud to be a member and a member of the board of directors. So that's me from Lubbock, Texas.
Thanks, Michael. So you can see where even the board is pretty diverse and widespread. So we're doing everything we can, not just to save this beautiful building, but to save the spirit of the congregation, which began 140 years ago, and expand it into the future. And the building, hopefully, I think our goal is to keep it in perpetuity and hand it over to the generation. So 140 years from now, they can decide what they're able to do with the building. And just so you know, the town of Trinidad is doing everything they can with investors and historic preservationists and whatnot to try to grow the town. I do see this town growing. I was just in Trinidad with Dana Crawford a couple weeks ago, and she told me that she thinks Trinidad is going to be, if not the next, an Aspen at some point. So as the town grows, so Jews will be coming back. So thank you. Rick, please, and Becky.
Oh, thank you. Some of this may be redundant, but my relationship is my family's the Sanders family. And when I was younger, I remember, very young actually, making our trips to Denver. I think Uncle Cy had Sanders had a alcohol distributorship there in Denver. And I knew bits and pieces about Temple Aaron and some minor involvement we had, but I wasn't aware the breadth of the commitment that everyone had until I got older and started looking back. When you're younger, sometimes different things matter. And as we approached older, before my grandmother passed away, she shared with me some of the detail. And as I started digging into the history of Temple Aaron and the commitment level and what everyone went through to found the synagogue and to get it going and to bring it up from its roots going forward, all that energy, emotional, physical, financial, everything that it took to pioneer both for the Jewish community and the community at large. I was so impressed, and I thought at that time, that's when I first reached out to Catherine, this can't for their legacy, for generations going forward, all that energy can't go to waste. All those efforts needs to continue. And it's just, the stories, it's emotional, sorry. The stories that I read were very moving about the commitment level of some of the people and what they went through to get going. And sometimes in history, you tend to emotionally detach and it becomes just a story, but it was real life and it was real people that were involved. So I'm personally very thankful to everyone's involvement. Nowadays, especially, people don't take the time to do these things. And it's so critical, if not now more than ever, that our legacy as Jews, our legacy as a community, and everything that our ancestors put forth to get us to this stage continue. I don't look at it as a luxury. It's to me, it's critical, and I'm just very thankful.
Thank you, Rick. I just very quick. Whenever I talk, oftentimes when I talk about the temple, it's very emotional to me. For those that don't know, I was born in Israel. To both my parents are Holocaust survivors. I've not been a very practicing Jew, I would say, but aside from my bar mitzvah, this has probably been the most meaningful element in my Jewish life. So it's great to see everybody. Thanks. Lana?
Oops, you're muted, Lana.
You're muted, Lana. You're,
Here, hold on, Lana. We got to unmute you.
Maybe I don't think she has anything. You can just hit the space bar. There we go.
I just wanted to say I'm very grateful to be here and to meet everybody. I am living in Trinidad. I learned about Temple Aaron when I moved here from South Florida 5 years ago because I was looking for feasts in the area, and I happened to have found it online, and I found out about all the beautiful history, and I just thank God that now I'm here local to be hands-on. And Kevin, you opened up the discussion about the youth, which is spot on, and about the future of teaching Torah, and just telling the youth about how divine the commandments are. I actually had an encounter at Walmart with a high school student. She looked like when I was getting my groceries delivered in the car, and I had an opportunity to tell her I keep the Sabbath, and I got to tell her about a little about that, and it was just a connection there. And I just want to open up if there's any this is an opportunity where I can offer my service in any way. Reach out, Sherry. I know we've been in contact. I would love to just be a part and hands-on in any way. I've got a marketing background. I've worked as a substitute in the schools in South Florida, and just a bunch of different ways to help. My husband and I, we live off grid, so we're really hands-on. We haul water. We're just very laborious, and he's very hands-on too, and more mechanically inclined than I am. I'm more of marketing, advertising. We actually have an Airbnb in Stonewall. We started it here a little over 2 years ago, and doing marketing research then. I really wanted to get into Trinidad to start an Airbnb, but it's wonderful to see how it's blossomed, the Airbnbs in the area. And it's a wonderful idea to open up the gatherings and just to see the people from all over come, because we're going to have the places to accommodate folks. So that's a beautiful thing. And just one last thing, that cemetery is wonderful. My husband and I were there just a couple months, and it's just, I would love to be a part of that upcoming gathering when it does happen. So it's nice to meet everybody, and I look forward to working together and making something beautiful out of this unity.
Thank you, Lana. We'll
Thank you
definitely
so
be.
much, Lana.
Yeah.
Thank you. Kevin, and then I think Michael Steinberg might have
Yeah.
something to add. To,
Well, I just,
go ahead, Michael, and then we could do.
no, I'm impressed by this. I believe that these small steps are huge for our Jewish families. I have the saying, same tent, different door. And I really appreciate, Neil, what you've done. I have a house in Steamboat, and we finally got a rabbi after about a year and a half of looking, and I've been supportive. I belong to probably 60 different shuls in the United States. And I believe that, to have a strong Jewish community, and you need a strong JCC. I've done several of those, and synagogues are important, and everything, all the touches are important. And I applaud everybody. I have not been to Trinidad for quite a while, but I'll have to make it a point to come back. I spent a lot of time in Denver, and I think it's great what everybody's doing. I think it's really important. These small touches are the biggest thing. I have a saying, the ripple effect. Doesn't matter how big the stone is that you throw in the pond, there's always a ripple. So thank you for everybody for making a ripple in this community and the United States. I do have to leave. It's 7 o'clock here in St. Louis, but I applaud you, and I really am glad that I am part of this. I listened, even though I was doing work and you muted me when I was trying to do some things. I was paying attention. So nice to meet everybody, and I look forward to continuing these conversations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you.
I would like to add something. Mark your calendars, July 23rd, 2023. That's going to be a red letter day.
Okay.
So I have, Lana, thank you for what you said about being in Trinidad. Is it possible to get a list of who lives in Trinidad? I do.
Kevin.
You're referring to Jewish people who live there, or
Jewish people and whoever's on, as members here. I go out occasionally to go visit my kids, and would love to have a cup of coffee or host a lunch or host a dinner. I'd be very, very willing to do that. And
outside of Lana, I don't know if does anybody else on this call live in Trinidad?
No.
Oh, I do. Kevin, did you say you were in Los Angeles? Because my son, who's going to be turning 23 this month, he's going to be in LA visiting his friend near the UCLA area. So if you happen to be there,
I live about 3 miles from the UCLA campus. So.
Oh my God. Well, I think he's already found an Airbnb, and he's not going to be there until another few weeks. So
our house we're empty nesters. There's a lot of room in our house.
Oh my! Oh,
anybody who comes to LA, just let me know, because
that's lovely. And we have an Airbnb here, so anybody welcome if you need a place.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
but
Lana.
yes, Kevin, I'll try to put together a list for you, Kevin, of local, Trinidad and surrounding areas.
So when we come out to Trinidad, we're making our trip from Washington State. Sounds like there's an Airbnb we can hook up with as a place to stay. That works out great.
That's great.
Yeah, there's quite a few actually. I've never been to Lana's. I didn't know you had one. So
Stonewall, actually, it's in Stonewall. So
okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know we're a little beyond 6. I'm willing to stay on here all night long, but whatever anyone else want to have any input, any comments, Les, Alan, anybody, please feel free.
We've got to jump off. It's 5 o'clock here. But we have to jump off. We have another commitment, but I just want to part.
No worries.
Again, thank you for everyone. This is just wonderful, and I'm looking forward to see where we go and what we can do. If there's anything we can do from Washington State area, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and if we can be of any help. We're here for the long haul to help this move forward.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
There we go. Yeah, that's Les here, and I'm gonna jump off, Linda also, but as I said, I'm gonna be in Trinidad next week. Lana, I'm gonna look you up if you're still on, and that'll be fun to meet you.
Yes, it will.
Thank you, Les and Linda. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you, Les.
Appreciate it. Great to see you.
Linda.
I have a
I'm just
question.
gonna keep it on. If you guys are okay, I'll keep it on until you guys all need to leave, because there might be still a little pearl of information that, we'd love to hear. Go ahead, Sherry.
I know we need to kind of wind down, I think.
Sure.
And I know there's not everybody here now. So of those remaining, I'll just say, we've been a small core group and we're in need of more volunteers to help with all kinds of things. So I just kind of wanted to plant a seed and let you know some of the things that we need help with. Lana, I might want to talk to you, since you mentioned you had some marketing background, but I need some volunteer help with graphic art and web stuff. That's one area we'd love to get some help with. Another area, as we embark on our next campaign, we're definitely going to need help putting together this campaign and doing outreach, fundraising. As you know, we mentioned before, we're actively recruiting rabbis to participate in our Collective Voices program. And then finally, just local people, like we mentioned, to participate in events. And I'm talking like, get your hands dirty, set up the tables, helping clean up, that kind of stuff, just to make the events run. So I'm just kind of planting the seeds. If anybody has an interest in any of those areas, you can always reach out to any of our, board members or email. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there.
And we need to grow the board as well. So just throwing it out there.
Neil, I have to jump off too, but I'd like to make an offer if anybody would like to see the National Historic Landmark nomination. I can make it available to you. It's over 100 pages and it's filled with incredible stories, rich footnotes about the people of Trinidad and how they built this building and helped build a community. And there's got to be a way to make that available to people if they want to see it. And I'd be glad to help with that. And I know we promised we wouldn't ask anybody for money, but there's a tiny little portion of that project that we could use some financial support for. And if anybody wants to know about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Tim, is it not possible to add that onto the website?
I think so. The document itself is easy, but there's a 26-page photo log, and then there's another 20+ page illustration log, and those files are really big. But there's got to be a way to do it.
We probably can figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, I think so.
It is a really amazing document. I mean, it's not quick reading. It's dense. There's a lot in there, but it is really, really interesting. A lot of fun stuff.
And as part of that ceremony, when it happens, there'll be the installation of a plaque on the building from the National Park Service. And that activity also opens up some rich financial opportunities for us to move forward on the roof as well. So thank you all for joining today, and I appreciate all of you participating.
Tim,
Yeah,
thank you for
appreciate
all
your
you do.
ideas.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I've taken notes on everybody's ideas, so we will be discussing and following up with these. We're not going to just forget about them. We will have follow-up. So.
Thank you for writing those down, Sherry.
Yep. I can't help it.
Anybody else, please? Alan, I appreciate you participating. We just haven't heard from you. If you want to say anything, please chime in.
I'm just happy to be a part of it, and it's everything Kim explained to me it was, and it's going to be better all the time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure, Randy.
Kevin, hi. Randy Rubin here. How do you say your last name?
Burnett.
Okay, I didn't know if it was Burnett or Bernay.
Burnett.
Okay.
Okay.
It's I think when we spoke, it's an interesting past. My dad was born in Germany in 1929 and left there when he was 8 years old in 1937 or 36. And I think when he finally got out of Germany, it was 1937. So ended up in Southern Africa, but a very storied past. And the Burnett family is traced back to the 1400s in Germany.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this
Wow.
beautiful building was built by German Jews that settled in Trinidad.
Yes.
That's right. I mean, when
it's
my
wonderful.
daughter told me that she was moving to Trinidad, I first of all didn't know where she was talking about, and
The island.
it was the one way of going to the bank of Kevin and Laurie Burnett. My wife's name is Laurie. Is saying, but Dad, they have a synagogue. So
Great.
I'd love my kids to be more involved. It is that age group that I deal with. It's the disconnection, and it's as I said earlier, how to get them involved. But you did say, Sherry, that you'd like volunteers. I'd be very happy to try and connect you with my daughter and my son, and they live up the road and very close to
Yeah.
Well,
If they have an interest, that would be fantastic. I remember meeting you at the open house last September. That would be great.
Kevin, your son's been in a synagogue. Wasn't he on the baseball team?
No, he's not on the baseball team, but they support the baseball team. You're talking about the Triggers?
No, TSC. I thought when the first time he came to services, he was with another young man. And I thought for whatever reason, he's been in the synagogue, as you certainly know.
Yeah, he's.
I thought he was on the baseball team for Trinidad State.
He was playing soccer there. He volunteered for AYSO and
okay.
He's a soccer player, not a baseball player, but I know the Triggers is supported by their company. I'm not sure if you Kim Schultz. I don't know if you know the
Sure.
Schultz family.
I've met her over the years.
Yeah, a little sugar, but that's okay. Everybody has a little bit of sugar in them. But they've been involved, and that their partner in the company is Robert Schultz, and they're fourth generation Trinidadians, not Jewish, but I think we could bring them in if we try. So yeah, it's I find it fascinating out there. I wish there was more of a connection. I'm so happy that the synagogue didn't lose its status. I know, Randy, you've done amazing work on you and Ron, so thank you for that. And you are my connection, because that's how I got to get into the temple right in the beginning when everything was closed down because the boiler wasn't working. So I have beautiful pictures of being inside the temple. I do hope that I can be there on July 23rd. And I think it'll be an amazing event. So hopefully I'll be there before then too.
That would be great. How often do you tend to come out?
We're out there every Thanksgiving. We come out for Thanksgiving. We come out, I'd say we get out there at least three times a year. I have a home in Beaver Creek. So in the wintertime, I don't venture down to Trinidad. I go and tell my kids I need to make that drive up north. Yeah, so I think my wife is planning on being there the weekend before Super Bowl, so she might be out there. Me, I'm going skiing.
Sounds like a good plan.
I've also got to get off, but this has been wonderful. I know there aren't a lot of participants left, but I'd like to thank those of you who have stayed on till the bitter end and have been a part of Temple Aaron and have expressed such wonderful ideas and suggestions and heartfelt connections to Trinidad and to Temple Aaron. So thank you very, very much. I look forward to more conversations and more interactions with all of you. Thank you.
Ron, thanks. Thanks for joining. You know what, in respect to everybody's time, like I said, I could do this all night, but maybe we'll just wrap it up for now. You know how to get a hold of us, hopefully. Sherry and myself and any of the board members. We're just a phone call away. My phone number's on the screen right there. I personally can't thank you enough for being a part of this. I would imagine it's probably kind of representing the board as well. We're all very appreciative, and we wish you well, and thank you for wishing the temple well, and hope to see you all live at some point, and if not, by Zoom, and hope to hear from you on the phone and any and all your ideas.
I just want to say
Thank
hi to
you.
Raleigh Dove. Hi, Raleigh.
I think he said his audio is not working.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, he wrote there, his audio is not working.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, darn. Oh, I see.
I'm not sure. I don't see.
I see. Yeah. Okay.
I don't see Raleigh. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. She's not, her picture's not there. Just her
Oh.
name. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Raleigh,
Right.
you can probably hear us. Thank you for coming. And, if you have ideas, please share. So thank you
right.
again, everybody.
Good night,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
everybody. Have a great
Thank you all
night.
for coming.
Wonderful to see you all.
Bye-bye and shalom. Thank
Hello.
you.